Alright, in this video we are going to make a current heading hold and add a little adjusting button to it, so let's get into it. Alright, so right off the bat we are going to need, let's grab an instrument panel, just so that we can get some more controls in here, and we'll just kind of lay out what we want here. So we'll do that, and we will do a couple of things here. For channel 1, we will do a gauge, and we will do current heading, and we'll make this 0 and 360 degrees, because there's 360 degrees in a turn, and then once we get over 360 degrees, we're going to be facing north, and then we're going to suddenly go to 0 again. Let's make that horizontal. Just because for bearing stuff, I like seeing it as if you're on a compass. Let's put a heading hold on, and we will make this a flip switch, and then at the bottom here, to adjust, we'll just do ADJ left, and then we'll do adjust right. Now we'll make both of those arrow buttons down here like that. We want that one facing right and that one facing left. Those are both going to be push buttons, and that's going to be it. Now this is going to be a current heading hold. So whatever we're currently facing, it's going to hold that heading. It's super simple to put a keypad in and then read off that keypad instead, but this is kind of always nice for boats and stuff. But current heading hold is a bit more complicated, because you need to use a memory register and all of that, whereas the keypad, you just literally enter it in. So I'll show that as well, just so you can get all the information you'll need for it. But right off the bat, we are going to need a compass sensor. So we're going to throw this in, we'll put this right at the front, go and grab our blank microcontroller here. We'll just throw this up front for now. Actually, I'll give myself a little bit more room, just like that. We're going to go ahead and make this just a little bit bigger. It's not going to be super big. We'll call this adjustable heading hold. Now we're going to go into here. We are going to add one node for the compass, one node for your seats steering, so A and D, one node for the rudder A and D. So we're just going to separate those out. So we'll call this seat A/D. This is going to be a number input. We'll call this rudder. That will be a number output. And finally, we will have our compass, and that will be a number input. Now, actually, I'm going to add one more thing here. I'm going to call this keypad. Actually, I'll call this bearing keypad. I'm going to make it so we can switch an on-off toggle and either use our current heading or a heading we put into a keypad. So that's going to be a number input. So we'll come over here. We'll bring all of this down over here. And we'll separate all that out like that. Right off the bat, we're going to want to go and grab a function block. We're just going to use the single one here, and we're going to bring this down to the compass, connect that. We're going to do this equation. I'll put that up on the screen so you guys can see. But this is how we're going to take our current heading, because the compasses in game only go from 0 to 1, but we need to get a 0 to 360 out of that. So that's all the math we do for that. I've covered that in a couple of my videos now, which is why I just kind of pasted that in. We've got our current bearing all there. We've got our bearing keypad. We've got our A and D. So we're not going to deal with our A and D yet. What we want to get is we want to get our desired heading. So if we have our current heading hold on, which means you are just pressing a button and then it will hold whatever direction you're facing right there, then what we're going to do is we're going to go grab a memory register right here. This is going to be the number that we're going to remember. So that is our current heading. Now, as soon as we press this button to set, it's going to hold whatever number this was at that instance it was pressed. Now, keep in mind, this does have to be a push button, so it cannot be a toggle. So we're going to actually go and grab a pulse. That will take our toggle from a push button, and that's what we want to use. We also have the reset. We actually do need a couple more nodes here. We need 2 composite nodes. That is going to be for our instrument panel. So let's just go like composite. One needs to be an output. We'll just call this panel and panel. Now we'll go back over to the logic, move these around. This one is going to be for our on-offs. This one is going to be for our current heading number. So to grab the actual on-offs off it, we need a composite read on-off. So we need one to turn on our system, one to go up one to go left, and one to adjust right. So we need 3 in total. We'll just connect all of those. 4. So we'll do channel 2 is our on-off, channel 3, and channel 4. So channel 4, I'm remembering this as in the instrument panel. So I'm going 1 is the top left, 2 is the top right, 3 is the bottom left, 4 is the bottom right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to connect that to that. Now whenever we press on channel 2, which is our toggle to turn on and off our heading hold, that will activate our memory register. Now whenever this is not turned on, we'll go here and then connect that to there. So whenever this is not turned on, we want to reset us down to 0. So as you can see here, reset value is 0, which would technically make it so that our heading we're facing is 0, but at the same time, we're also turning our PID off. So what we're going to do now is because we have our bearing keypad, so we want to be able to choose whether we're using our current or our keypad. So we're going to go and grab a switch box. We're going to throw this in right here. Now whenever this is turned on, we want to be reading from our current, and whenever this is turned off, we want to be reading from our keypad. We'll connect that. We will grab a property toggle. We'll bring this over here. We'll bring that over like that. Now whenever this is turned, we'll call this setting mode. Now whenever this is turned on, we're going to call this current. And whenever this is turned off, we are going to call this keypad. Now we want to start it on. So that's going to be simple as that. Now whenever we press update and go over here, we can change if we're using our keypad or our current. So that's just really simple. I like doing all of these, as many as I can, just because it makes it so much easier to use in the future as well. You just set yourself up for a bit more success later on if you ever want to do a different type of system or anything like that. You can just simply adjust the settings there. Now, we want to be able to adjust this heading. So what we want to do for that is we want to grab a counter. We're going to throw this in. And then we're going to add an add block. We're going to connect both of those like that. So that will add these two values together. Whenever we add increments from left or right, depending on which direction we want to go, it'll add it after. So we don't want to add it all before because that's going to be memory to store. And this is going into memory, so as soon as that's locked in, it's going to stay. After it, it's going to fluctuate and change because it's going to go to the PID, so it really doesn't matter. As long as this is before the PID and after the memory register, you're fine. Now remember, these are push buttons. So they're already pushed, so they're fine to go, so you can do up and down. Now this is important. I'm not going to clamp this because I trust myself that I'll be able to not do insane numbers whenever I'm holding it. I also bring this down a lot. So I'll probably 0.002, 0.005, that'll be fine. And that's going to change how many increments it moves whenever you press and hold that push button to either go left or right. That's how you're going to be able to change your speed later on. Now, another thing is we don't want this to stay added because whenever we are turned off and say we face another heading or put another heading in the keypad, that's still going to hold it, and that's going to basically act as a trim, and it's going to constantly add. If we say add 20 degrees, whenever we put our heading that we want, say 50 degrees, we're going to suddenly be turning 70. So what we want to do is we want to reset this. So whenever this system is turned off and the system is not on, so we'll connect that, then we reset this value to 0. But that is all the systems that we're going to need for getting our actual heading and all of that. So let's come over here, let's add all of that away, let's go and grab a PID. We'll grab the advanced PID as always. Our set point is going to be this. All of that is going to be our set point. Our compass, wherever that is, there you are. So we want to get after all of this equation, not just reading off the compass. That's very important. That's going to be our process variable because that is where we are currently heading, and that's what's going to show the actual change. This is not. This is going to be a still number unless you're adjusting it. Now let's go and add another number over, or another node over here. This is going to be for our p-value. just like that. That's going to be a number input. I always like to just keep these p-values on. And then I actually do the same kind of thing over here. I will use a property number and a property toggle. So we'll just throw these in, and then we'll grab a switch box like that. We'll bring this all over a little. Whenever this is turned on, and whenever that's turned off, and then we'll connect that to that. Now, whenever this is turned, oh, actually, we'll name this p-value. Now, whenever this is turned on, it's going to turn on the external p-value. Whenever this is turned off, it's going to use the internal p-value, which you'll use up here. And you can just press the little arrow button whenever you're in and change it here whenever you want. So I'm going to call this just p-value, p-value read. Now, whenever this is turned on, we will use internal. Whenever this is turned off, we will use external. So I'm going to use off right off the bat. And we will connect this to proportional gain right there. We'll just bring these on up a little. Let's see, we will grab a couple more property numbers over here. Just for the I and the D. I and D. We'll call this I value. And we will call this D value. Now, we want to go and grab that same on-off. That's controlling all of the system, which is going to turn it all on or off. And we're going to go and connect that simply to the PID on-off. Now, we do want to read out our bearing. So we're going to go and grab composite right number up here. This is just going to be reading off of channel 1. Now we're going to come off of our function block here with all of our compass settings in there. And we're just going to hook that in there and connect that right to there. Like that. And now we will be able to read our current heading using channel 1 on a instrument panel. So we'll just bring that over there just to tidy things up a bit. Now we do want to add an add block over here. So that's going to be there because we want to add our A and D to this no matter what. So if we're driving and we see a boulder or something like that in front of us and we don't want to hit it, instead of having to go and turn off our autopilot, we can just steer like regular and not have to change anything. And as soon as you let go, it will take over again. Now we do actually want to go and grab a function block as well. So we're just going to want to actually clamp these values. So we're going to go here. Now we're going to add the add block after the clamp because we don't want to clamp our A and D. We only want to clamp PID because the PID can get pretty high numbers sometimes. So now we're going to go and grab some property numbers. We're going to grab 2. We're going to add this to the Y and this to the Z. We're going to call this clamp minimum and we'll call this clamp max. So for minimum, we'll just do negative 0.5 and we'll do 0.5. We want to keep those the same values, just one negative and one positive, because we don't want it being able to steer more in one direction than the other. So now we're just going to do clamp, bracket, and then we're going to be clamping X by Y and Z, and then we're going to end the bracket. Now that should be it, unless I'm missing anything, but it does not look like it. So that's all we're going to do for that. So quite a simple little system here. We can tidy it all a bit over here like that. So we'll just do update. Make sure you do update and not just cancel. As you can see, we have a whole bunch of fun little things in here. So we can change our heading mode. We can change our p-value. We can do external or internal. We can change more of the values for the PID. We can do our clamp. So let's go and actually hook some stuff up now. So let's add the composite right here. We'll add the channels here. So that's channel 1 on default, 2, 3, and 4. Now we will go and connect some more stuff up here, our p-value. So let's actually go and grab a keypad for our p-value. We'll just throw this in here temporarily. Actually, we'll throw one in permanently right here, just so we can change our number later on if we want. So you can always add it in here. Call this desired heading. So we'll just make that our that won't be our desired heading right now. That's going to be our p-value, but we'll connect that to bearing keypad later on, just so you can change it if you would like. Seat A and D, we'll connect that to seat A and D. We'll connect that to our rudder, And our compass will go to our compass, and bearing keypad will do nothing yet. And oh, actually, I mixed these up. I put those on the wrong way, so we'll actually just flip those. So whenever I had this turned on, it was using internal, which was the p-value node, and then off, it was using the internal property number. So sorry about that. So that was the last little thing there. So let's go and try that out. And can't jump, apparently. So we'll hop on in here, press the key, throttle. We'll just add 1. As you can see, we've got our current heading in there. Let's do that. There we go. Look at that. So you can see we're oscillating a lot. Let's go 0.05. And there we go. So we're beautiful. Let's see. I'm not quite sure. It looks like we're holding around 137. And we're holding it quite well. Not perfect, but we're not oscillating. And also keep in mind that is why we have other values. So we can go and change those other values and really tune this in perfectly. But that's fine for the purposes of this tutorial. Now, we also want to check adjust. Let's see, can we adjust? Does not seem like adjust is working. So we are going 139 now. So I may have them in the wrong direction. We are going up. It's very slow, I think. So it is working. Let me see if I can adjust right. I can. So it is working. So it's just incredibly slow. So let's go and raise those up. So we'll go into here. And we're going to go and find that counter right here. And we're going to make this 0.05. Let's try that. Let's spawn that in. We'll no clip over. We'll hop on in. We'll add 0.05, 0.06, I think that's what it was. And we'll throttle. We'll turn on heading hold. Okay. So we are facing, let's see, we're around 3. So we'll do adjust. There we go. So we're adjusting quite quicker now. And then once we stop, we're going to hold around 17. Now those are inverted, so I will be wanting to switch those around. You can just switch the actual numbers on there, or you can go into the micro, really whatever you want. But that is how you can really simply just adjust all of it for what you want. And we can still steer. So that's really great. And even better, we can steer, we can add in a bunch of stuff. We'll go down. So we are going left right now. And then as soon as we press off, it will stop and we can steer. And then if we turn it on again, perfect. So that'll reset. So if we didn't have the reset on the adjusting, it would have held that in and we would have gone left again, which is not what we would have wanted. So that's pretty much perfect for what I want. So I do hope that this helps, and thanks for watching.